You're on.
Hi, welcome to Barvotti's 75th live screening of Tools for Creatives. I am Phoebe Bradbury, and today I will be demonstrating some of the tools that I use every day in my studio, in my art studio. I wouldn't want to be without them, and I find new uses for them all the time. There will be promotional offers during the program, and the promo codes will be active during the demonstration and for about an hour after. In general, our promotional codes are 25% off your choice of tool. That's off the price that's on Amazon. And they are only available on Amazon.com. And the current time, my little teleprompter is going way ahead of me. I don't use much of it. So the current time is 12 noon Central, April the 20th, 2022. So if you look at this at a different time, the promotional codes won't be working. But there will be more coming up on every one of our shows. We have promotional codes, and they're almost always for your choice of 25% off of one of the products. Okay? Okay, I'm back. Okay, we have a number of different things happening today. One of the things that I've wanted for a long time is a way to respond to the chat room directly. So I now have the chat in front of me. If anybody says anything in there, but I must tell you that it's almost. I was told 25 to 30 second lag, so if you put something in the chat, I probably won't see it for 25 to 30 seconds. Is the same lag for you too? Oh, yeah. So neither of us will see it, so just be a little patient. We will see it, and if I don't see it, Preben will wave to me, and then I will be able to look at it for the first time. So I'm very excited about that because I've wanted to have a way of interacting with the people that are watching. Thankfully, Amazon apparently screens out really negative things, but I want to be able. I just found that out. I want to be able to respond to questions, and I'm finding that I would really like to answer questions and that sort of things. At the opening, I'm just going to go over this. I don't know what to go over first. This was shown at the opening, and it's done on freezer paper, which means that it's not archival. I can't market it like this. So I spent, let's see which way's up here. Oh, there it is. I spent about an hour, maybe. Which one is showing? Oh, I see. One. Okay, I'm looking at two monitors right now. One is right in sync, and the other one is 25 seconds behind. So I'm getting a little confused here. So, so it's not archival, and I spent an hour, maybe 2 hours, because I'm not very good with Photoshop yet. I'm getting much faster. But I've decided that if I like something that I did on the, in fact, I tell everybody, if you do something on the plastic freezer paper and you really like it, which often I do really like it because I'm not worried about making a perfect picture and that sort of thing. So I just make it quickly and it flows and I'm in the zone and all that stuff. And then I get this really nice picture, and it's not even on archival paper, so I don't have an original to sell. I still have the plastic paper, plastic freezer paper. So I've decided to scan them and put them together. And so this one has, Previn's going to show you a copy of the scanned one that I can now probably market and sell as a, okay, yeah, that's it. I made one little addition to it. You said you couldn't go out any further. Can you go in a little further? Because I want to show one little thing there. So this I can print and market. You can't go in. Okay, that's okay. But you'll notice on these big, okay, where can I point? On the big square at the top, there's little tiny lines. Show my original now, the one I've got on my hands here. See, you'll notice there's this, here I can show you, there's this mark here, and it goes over there. And then there's sort of a little water splotty mark there. And I thought, maybe I can change this in Photoshop so those two distracting items aren't distracting anymore. So if you go back to my fixed in Photoshop, not like I'm a professional Photoshop fixer, but I went in there and I made these very, very tiny line tracings along there, which I think kind of does help that situation. And I still like the very quick painting. It was just it was basically a color demonstration showing what colors you can make when you just put 3 or 4 colors out, or 2 or 3 colors out in this case. And my original choice for a name for it was Study in Green, or Studies of Green, because we did go through the green sections and what sort of different colors of greens we could get with one yellow there and a different yellow here. But when I was copying it, I was copying just this one portion here, and it was sort of cut out. And I thought, that looks like a man with a beard. So this is his forehead. This is where his eyes are. That's his face, and there's his beard. And it was so prominent in sort of my thinking, the way I was thinking, that I couldn't get it out of my head. So I'm sort of, is this painting Man with a Beard or Study in Green? So I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. But so that's what I want to do. The reason I'm going through all of that is what I want to do is, instead of making that kind of a painting on the cheap freezer paper, I'm going to try and make it on the not so expensive, but and you have to think about it when you're doing it on archival Yupo paper, which is what this. I usually buy Yupo paper online in large amounts, and I'm still actually working off my first. I bought a case of letter-sized Yupo paper several years ago. And I still got a lot of it. And when I say a case, I don't mean 500, I mean a case. So there's a lot in there. And so I'm going to use some of those just to see if I can be as loose and as free with this paper, even though it's a little smaller, so that then when I'm finished, I actually have an original that's on an original piece of paper and not on a piece of wax paper, though I do like the feel of the wax paper in that. So we will do that today, and we will use these tools. And these are the tools that you saw. Everything that we've done so far are things that are Barvotti products that I market online. So this one here is made from this tool, and you actually saw it being made today. So it looked like I used that one quite a bit. I tend to do that. I use maybe 3 or 4 in one. Yep, almost all of them are made with that one. So this is the 2-inch shaper. This is the 2-inch modelers. These are modelers. These are shapers. The modelers we sell individually at 3, 2.5, 2, 1.5, and 1-inch sizes. So they're sold individually, and the shapers are sold in packages. of 5 each, and if you look online, we have really good descriptions in our store and on our website, barvotti.com. A lot of questions can be answered in both of those places. So you can see here, we've got a much nicer, oops, what am I doing here? Okay, we've got a much nicer presentation of this thing that I'm sort of reading off here about what each of these ends do. And there's 5 different ends. The angled chisel, flat chisel, cup chisel like this, with a little bit of flat on there, a round cup, and a taper point, which is just a fully tapered point. And all of the 3 different sizes that we sell are the 1 millimeter, 10 millimeter, sorry, and that 10 millimeter means across the base of the flat chisel. So this one is 1 centimeter or 10 millimeters across. So we have the 10 millimeter, the 7 millimeter, and the 4 millimeter. Where is that? Where did I put them? Oh, here they are. It's the 4 millimeter here. So you can see there's quite a variety in sizes if you just compare the two. We may be getting ones like a 6 millimeter and maybe an 8 millimeter, just because to fill in at the larger sizes. At the smaller sizes, we did carry a 3 millimeter. We still have it for a little while, but it's so delicate, it's hard to ensure well, the quality of them. They're so delicate. Okay, and these are the types of what it's sent in. It's an eco-friendly craft envelope, and they're all sent either as a set in one of these or individually. And this is for the 3-inch modeler. Okay, it has information on the back, how to care for your tools. And it has information, just generally about us and how to let us know how things are going or what you're doing and that sort of thing with the tools. We'd love to hear from you, really, really would. So I'm going to just drop that, and I'm going to do what I promised. Oops, I better put these. I got to put these ones away because they are my show tools, and I don't want to actually use them. Even though they're very easy to clean, it's much easier to clean ones that aren't dirty. I mean, like we're showing this show every day. So here I have my, this is my Yupo paper. I put a little bit of a film on it. You don't have to do that. I did that for, actually I'm going to see if I can find one that doesn't have a film on it. Yeah, this one doesn't. So this one I had put on a covering just because I wanted to use it for something later. We may do that later in the class. Okay, let's put this down. So let's get some paint on the board. So I'm going to put Airline Yellow. So remember, this one is being quite wet, and I determine how wet they are, and because I'm just basically demonstrating and not necessarily painting anything that much on my own, though that's changing quickly. I haven't been keeping control of them, but normally I use a method for determining I'm going to put quinacridone. I'm not used to such a small space. This is a quinacridone red. It's a transparent red. And I tend to work with transparent colors because I prefer them. And it's a bit of a problem because I live and work in Mexico, and I find it very difficult to buy the types of colors I want here. They just don't have the quality. And it's just a matter of time. So that will change, I think. Okay, so I've got a chance here to play with some oranges, and I just want to give, let's see if we can do some phthalo blue. Oh, it looks like I'm making a color wheel here. Oh, let's try to get away from that. So a phthalo blue, and I wanted another blue. Where is it? Okay. What I wanted was, oh, I'm going to use, this is my mix. I made this. I made this from phthalo blue and phthalo green. So I'm going to just put it over there. And I'm going to start playing with some of my tools and just see if I can, if I don't speak too much, it might be better, but let's see what happens.
Pull it down just a little bit.
Pardon me?
Pull it down a little bit.
Pull it down a little bit. Okay, how's that?
Yeah.
Is it, I don't know which one I'm looking, oh yeah. I should look at the up-to-date one. So what I've got here is a bunch of tools that I've modified, and I've got one here that is not modified. So just to show you, there's an original tool, and there's 3 modifications of it. Okay, so, and I'm just going to start. Okay, there, started. I'm sort of confused about which of these 2 things. I do something and then I'm waiting for the 30-second one. So I have to, I'm adjusting myself to the correct monitor. Oh, and to clean these tools, it's really just a simple matter of taking a damp rag and wiping it off. And that gets it right back to absolutely clean. Now you'll notice I didn't mix that blue with anything there. And I'm going to go around here and not mix it with anything. And I'm going to go around here. I've decided I'm going to mix it with everything individually. So I'm going to sort of play color wheel here. Ooh. Fried different colors eggs. I don't know. I'm just playing with them. Okay, so I'm kind of interested in the idea. What's the difference between this Indian yellow, which is transparent yellow, and this? It's an airline yellow. It is transparent, semi-transparent. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to take something like this, and we're going to go up here and see what kind of. I'm arguing with myself whether I have to buy bigger sheets of Yupo paper, and I think I probably do have to do that. Okay, so I use that one. Notice, and now I'm going to see what kind of green I get out of this one. So, ooh, 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 ooh. That's a much darker green, but that could be just because of the amount of yellow I used. Let's use a little more. So I'm going to put this over here. So you can see how just playing with these things, you can start to make different movements and stuff like that. So I can't obviously keep it all just towards, but this is more like a grass green, and this is more like a reddy green of a tomato vine or something. And that's because this yellow does not have any red in it, and this yellow, this Indian yellow, has actually quite a lot of red in it. And that's why it's sort of more of a sprucey green versus a grassy green. And let's look at this beautiful blue, other blue. Well, you'll notice it's beautiful when I show it. This is a blue-green color. It's made of the phthalo blue, but it's got green added, so it's more like a sea type of thing. So I'm just playing with this. I don't know whether this is going to work out or not. Ooh, Do you know what this is reminding me of? It reminds me of blowing up, it sounds silly, but it reminds me of blowing up balloons. And we used to be able to get, and I'm talking about the 1950s, because as my dad would say, I'm no spring chicken now. We used to get these multicolored balloons, and they would have all these wonderful sort of marks on them. And then as you blew them up, they got paler and paler and paler. So that's what this is reminding me of. And so I'm just mixing the red in. And mixing a red into especially an orange red, which is what this is. Now, by the time I've mucked it, you get a nice brown. And you can see some brown marks there. Okay. So that sure doesn't look as good as this, does it? It doesn't have quite the... This looks a lot better. It looks like a better painting. That's probably because I'm more relaxed when I'm doing it. So I'm just going to take some of these other things. And so sometimes you get going and you just sort of do the same thing over and over again for a little while. Take the cloth and wipe it off. And if you really don't like what you did, you can take this big, beautiful one and just scrape right through it. Get rid of it. Or you can find out what's underneath, which is probably what we're doing right now. But I'm going to scrape right through it. And this is kind of like a mud painting. Where did I put that one that I had? Just right here a while ago. Occasionally you make something that is really maybe not suitable for hanging on the wall, but you kind of like some things about it. I'm not saying this is going to be like that. Actually, what I'm going to show you is how this Yupo paper, see, because I'm just going to take it up. And I can't show you this because you don't see my wastebasket, but I'm scraping the excess paint into a wastebasket. And would I do this in my own studio? Or would I just start on a fresh piece of paper? Well, if it's Yupo paper, I would definitely use it over and over and over again. And some of the paintings I show regularly, they have been done that way. So when the Yupo's still fresh, and that's what's so nice about it. It is an acrylic, I should say. It is a synthetic paper, and you can actually get it as white as you want. See, it's almost pretty white. Oh, I know what I should have used it for. I should have used it for one of my... Okay, that's what we'll use it for. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate something which I call... They're sort of like denim paintings. I'm going to show you some samples of them. So this is an example of one. Oops, I'm looking at the wrong place. I'm looking, why isn't it showing there? Okay, so this is where I have a very light layer of paint on, and then I just scrape through using these tools, making marks. So that was one of the, wasn't the first one I did. Here's another one I did at a lighter background, and that's why I call it denim, because the color is very similar to a denim there. Notice that it's all one color. I'm not mixing colors there. And let's see if I've got another one here. Here's one that is, I think is quite nice and very vibrant. And I think that's all of them. Oh, I know. Here's Grandma's quilt. And So there that is. So, and this is just one done with a very light level of paint. And so it's a certain technique. So I'm going to show you that right now. Nope, that's all I have there. That drawer. I'll be there in a second. To do a good job of those, you want to put a very light, actually that's what I was saving those other ones for. You want to put a very light layer of a very dark color. And Payne's Gray is often very good color for that. I'm not going to put too much on. And we might just put it on like as though we were playing, as we were before. Where the heck is it? Where's that most beautiful blue? Oh, there it is. Often what I'm looking for is right in front of me. So for me, when I'm doing these things, when I drip the paint on like that, often that gives me an idea, and I have a plan, and then I say, oh no, I've got to do something different. Go off and do it, which I try not to do too much on when I'm demoing, but every once in a while I say, oh, I really think I should do this instead of what I planned, but I'm going to do, I think this would be just great. So I think this is going to be so I should actually spread this thinly first with a flat one. I think that's right. Trying to remember my process. There's a little bit of extra water. And a very light touch. So we're going to play with this a little bit and get it smeared on there. Okay. Oh, hi Kat. Thanks for coming. Thanks for following. So I'm just showing, oh, okay. I think I have to change the location of those two things that I'm looking at there. So that gives you an idea of like some very broad expressive marks you can make. And this is the time at which you can play at them, when you're maybe preparing for something else, you're trying to get it down to the actual level of darkness that you want. I think I want this a little bit darker, so I'm going to use some more Payne's Gray, and I'm going to save this paint that I have on my brush, just in case I need it later on a strip of Yupo paper. Sometimes I cut these to different sizes, but I like to save the strips for, you know, things like that. So let's put some more. Well, Payne's Gray is actually made from a mixture of blue. Where did I put that thing? I had blue and red, and you can find that. Where is it? Here, I set it aside. Here's a chart for making Payne's Gray. If you don't have it in your toolkit, that is it's a 3-to-2 mixture of, I think it is number 4, which is Naphthol Red Light, and a 2-part mixture of number 7, which is Phthalo Blue. So there is Phthalo Blue in here, and there is Phthalo Green. So we could maybe get to that Payne's Gray, or that darker color, not by adding Payne's Gray, but actually by adding a little bit of red. And I think I will do that. And that's where, you know, getting to know where how your colors are actually made, even the ones, there are only so many original colors, and all the other ones come from mixing. Oh, this is going to be very red now. Ooh, look at that. Okay. We're on a journey to Payne's Gray. So it doesn't look like a gray right now, but when we When we mix it a bit more, it'll look more like, it's often considered to be sort of like an India ink or very close to an anandrone blue, which is one of my, or anthraquinone blue is a magenta mixed with, a lot of magenta mixed with a little bit of phthalo blue. So you can see these are all on the same axis of blues and reds. So, does it still look pretty red to you? Yeah, okay. Let's just go. Okay. Got a bit too much on there. Oops. Let's get a bit of it off. Okay. Wipe it off my rag. And just to show you that when you have this, when you're working on these things, if you have all this paint sort of slopped around the edges, it changes your perception of what you've done. So it's often a good idea to change your background. And I do that by having sheets of, what is it called? Freezer paper. And I just change the background. We got a nice new one here. It gives us a slightly different idea. My watch just buzzed me, and I think it means I'm supposed to go and jump on something for 10 minutes. I forgot to turn that off. But you can see how lifting it up changes the view of what it is. And I'm just going to wipe this down a little bit. Hope that it's still pretty moist. Let's see if we can make really, oh, no, it's too wet. I mean, I should say it's a little too dry. So do I have this technique perfected? No. Not really. So I'm going to put a bit more water on it. Okay, so that's starting to look a little bit better. Maybe not exactly the color I want, but it's starting to look a bit better. So this is the method. The method is just to enjoy it and have fun. And if it doesn't work, keep track of what you did and do something a little bit different next time. So let's just see if we can get one of these to. Where's my favorite one? Oh, there it is. Okay, let's just see. So you can see now I'm starting to get some big, dark, maybe somewhat graphic marks in here. And the thing about, using these types of tools is that you start off and you make one kind of mark, and then you learn how to twist your hand and make other types of marks. And then you might learn that you're really a little bit bored with all these spaghetti marks. Sorry, I'm having fun. Okay, and so what would I do with something like this? Well, that's when I take these nice little flat ones, which are, where are they? Oh, I've rearranged my top of my desk because we are using the same camera but a completely different setup. And so I would just go like, I might go like that. And I might go like this. So you can see I've put a different, all that stuff that was wiggly that was in the background, was in the foreground, is now in the background. And it's hard to tell what the picture really looks like because it's down like that, but you can see now I have something quite different than I had. Oh, I can see the one I had a few minutes ago. Yes, and so you can see now that this has got a much more dimensionality. It's a little darker on this side. I think, and my tendency is when I'm playing like this, if I find something I like, I don't fix it, I just set it aside on the floor, and then I look at it the next day, and that would be like one of the ones for me, that one was a success, actually. So it's my time. So now I'm just taking, so this is interesting, because this is what I usually work on. It's the wax paper, and the Yupo is really much nicer to work on. And this time I've got a finished piece on the Yupo paper. So, but what I didn't achieve, which I wanted to achieve, which was something on the Yupo paper that was as free and open as what I make when I use the freezer paper. So there's something about the freezer paper that psychologically lets me play a little differently. So I'm gonna try another Yupo paper one. Let's see if I can be different, be a little bit more. I think I got into fooling around with color changes and stuff like this. So what am I going to do this time? Oops. Naphthol red wasn't coming out too well there. Let's see. Okay, this is the makings of a purple mud. Is it damp enough? Let's go here. So when I put the paint, the brush on its side like this, it lays down, and when I hold it up, of course, it scrapes through. And I'm going to do another one here, over here, with still a leftover paint from over there. So now, okay, where do I go from here? I'm going to do a little bit more yellow here. Oh, look at that green it's making there. Look at that. Okay. Then I'm going to lift it and spread, lay it down, and then lift it and scrape and lay it down and lift it. Oops. And scrape. Okay. So now I think I'm starting to get something a little bit more free than what I was doing. And it's like you develop a vocabulary, and I've been working on this vocabulary. This is our 75th show. So I've been working on this vocabulary for 75 hours when you think of it. And so I'm actually very pleased with my progress. And at art school, one of the things I learned, which wasn't necessarily common to everybody that knew about it, but I had read about the amount of time you really need to become a professional artist. And I was quite surprised that it was generally considered about 1,000 hours of active painting. That's a lot of time. I just set out to put in 1,000 hours of active painting, and I have done that. I've had a break for a while, but the only time I really got any great progress was when I worked on the same thing over and over again for a while. So I did a year of drips. I've got a painting I could show you with a lot of drips from my year at school. So how's that looking now? That's looking a little different. So maybe I'll do a circular. I don't want to do it right in the center. First rule of paintings, never stick important things right in the center. Okay. Oh well. It's very hard to follow. It's very hard to follow rules of paintings when my style is just look at what's there and see what I want to do without thinking too much. And if anything, I think, okay, let's push this up a bit. Okay, that's better actually. It looks better now that you can see the whole thing. A little bit close to the top. Let's see what we can do with this. Oops. Oh, that's sort of skewed. Now it's very, ooh. And some of that paint is sticking. So that's interesting. Let's do this. And if we don't like that, we can take it back up again. But this is starting to have the hallmarks of something that's been a little bit overworked. And that is because it has been. Ooh. So there's a couple of things you can get out of a painting like this. You can get the enjoyment of just doing it. And as I'm working through here, I have a lot of enjoyment out of just seeing what happens what happens there. And what happens if I don't like the painting? That's a very small part of it, because I've enjoyed making all these marks. And I've enjoyed, when you make something perfect or you think is really nice and then you just go in and ruin it, that's power. That's like saying, I don't care. I'm going to ruin it. I think somebody said something, I don't know who it was, somebody told me about it, but I think the phrase was, kill your darlings. So if you see something you like, just go, you're gone. So I'm actually kind of liking my funny little painting. And I probably call it Kill Your Darlings. So I think I did achieve. I got a lot closer. See, this is today's painting. Oops, and this is, I'm still having trouble. This is the one I did on the paper, and this is the paper that it's on right now, and you can see how free that was. And this one, I worked at it a little bit more, but I kind of like it, because at least I started to work with the shapes, and I've relaxed a bit. So, how are we doing here? Where's time? 12:45. Okay, so we did one of the things I planned on doing. Do another one. I'm just going to look at my... Okay. So, let's use this fairly nice, fairly clean surface. Let's just take this piece of paper and put a fresh one up. And I don't throw these papers away. I keep them and I lay them on the floor so that I can put fresh work on them. So, remember I said something about when we first started out. I said here's a painting that, you know, I was just scraping through things. And I did this very early when I got here. I think it must have been day 1 or day 2. And I put all this stuff on and I thought, oh, this is a mess. And then I just started scraping through and seeing what was underneath. And I realized I liked it. It's not a painting maybe, but it shows me techniques and stuff like that. I'll take it in a little closer just so you can see it. I can bring it over here. And I'm going to zoom in. I think it's in focus. Yes, it is. And I'm just going to move around the painting a little bit, and you can see all the lines and things. So as an abstract painter, these are the kind of things I'm interested in. I'm not really interested in making pictures that look like people or even objects that would remind you of people. That's why that painting, this one here, when I saw the bearded man guy, let's see if I can find him out, zoom him out. So this is the bearded man. It's very hard to explain why I saw a bearded man. This is obviously the beard, but I'm not trying to get those figures in there, and when I do see them, it's sort of problematic because I don't. And then people ask me, oh, is that a swan? But I should show you one that did give me ideas. And I was practicing, and I love it, this one. And this is called, where am I going to zoom out a little bit? So this is called Flamingo Land. And this, I could maybe do one of these in gold or something like that. And Flamingo Land is about the fact that this is pink and shimmery. It's a red gold paint, and that's what I had on, and I didn't know what I was doing, so there's a lot of little background work showing through, and then all of a sudden I started to use just a plain brush here. I think it was the 2-inch. Well, it wasn't this one anyway. It was just a little bit smaller than that, and just making these wiggly marks, and they reminded me of flamingos. Well, we live right in the middle of Flamingo Land because we live on the north coast of the Yucatan Peninsula, facing Texas, let's say, or facing the Gulf of Mexico. And flamingos fly over us all the time. We're planning on getting a little picture to put up of the flamingos fly. We have one, but we always forget to put it on our film roll, so we will do that sometime. So this is a case where quite a bit different than this. We're scraping through. We're playing with colors here. And this was done originally on Yupo paper and tends to be what I do on Yupo paper because I love the slipperiness of it. But we'll do a little Yupo paper slippery thing here right now. I could do it on black. I could do it on gold. I'll do it on black. I've prepared a few with, just to show you one. Oh, I know. Now I've got myself organized in drawers, or generally speaking. I still have to remember how to get out of them. So this is an example of this. This is an early example of them, and we're getting much better now. I don't know if I've got a later example right here, but we're twisting the way the things flow and that sort of thing. So, and we're sometimes changing the background. And this one's done on a board, painted black. And this is three-dimensional. So, and the gold, well, it's gold. It's just a gold paint. And I happen to have some pink gold paint. I had two things of it. So this is an acrylic paint of heavy acrylic medium. I can see I got a couple of gobs in there. So strictly speaking, I should have Should have probably strained it. I don't have to strain it, but because I can pick the things out as I go. And the other thing, it's just a little bit of dried paint. And I usually pick up all the paint that's left over and put it back in here because it's perfectly usable. It's a very inexpensive mixture. The gold is not terribly expensive. I'm just looking for the jar. This is a jar of it. And if you go on to my website, you'll see a link there. So this is a sun gold, and I use very little of this. I use like about 2 tablespoons, and then I use a lot of gel medium, and then I tint it with a transparent color, so that would be like a quinacridone. In this case, this is tinted with quinacridone. And I spent a lot of time developing, most of the reason I, how do I put that? Developed all of these tools with these funny ends is because I saw this modeled somewhere. I saw a picture of it and I thought, oh, we can do that. And so we've slowly been figuring out how to do that. And so right now I'm just going to put in a background, and then we're going to play with other ones. The background to give texture, and it's going to have to go over the surface, or I'm not going to be happy because I don't like to stop at the edges. I like my stuff to look like it. So there's a very simple, simple, uninteresting. So there's a lot of paint still on there, so I can still, if I lay my brush down, you can see I can push it back. And you can see that it's a little bit shiny, but when it dries, it'll be very, very shiny. Let's see, I've got one here. It's a red shiny. Oh, it's just temporarily stuck to another one. Didn't want to come across. But see, this is one it's got a little bit more gold in it than the red, but you can see it's very shiny and very intense. So this will be an intense pink. Very much like, this is the same color, actually, only it's got a black background. So how do we do this? So it helps to have a lot of paint on your brush and to feel free enough to use it, and then to feel really good about being, careful and then putting what's left over back in the jar. So what's the time? Here we go. So I'm just going to put this, I'm going to try and get sort of an even background thing here that I like. And then I'm going to go over it again. I'm looking for my 1 inch and my 1.5 inch. Oh, there it is. This was, it's funny, but you'd think I could use any of them, but it depends on the size of the paper, which size I really want to use. So this is a 1.5 inch, 1 inch, and a 2 inch. And they're all perfectly ready to use. They're not going to, I could wipe them off, but I wouldn't if I was in the studio doing it for myself, so I'm demonstrating how I would do it. So let's see what I can do here. So that gives you a nice, this is not a daytime flamingo, this is a nighttime flamingo. Let's put it that way. Let's do another one. So I can't be too careful because I'm doing it so fast. So I think I overdid that, so I'm going to put less in there. So very easy to work with. Just go back and put less in there, Phoebe. Just very easy. It is easy. And it's fun. So I don't have to put actually that's a good idea, not to put swirls underneath and just to put swirls on top. That might make it a little bit more interesting. let's do that. See what you think. Okay. And I don't want to overlap my swirls so much as I did last time. Okay, there's one. Oh, that's pretty neat. I wish it had gone right off, but that's okay. Let's see if I can do another one sort of over it, but not right on it. Not so sure that was so good. Okay. Very different working light on dark rather than dark on light. So we'll just try that again. Maybe I'll use this. I know I'm going to use a smaller one. And I'm going to go like this. Okay. So I'm using the 1-inch one, which is the narrowest one. I'm just going to wipe. There's actually no residue on there to speak of. So. Don't like that one. Oh, that's pretty good. I think that's going to be fine. I'm going to go like this. For some reason, I think that helps me break it up. It's funny because I get to look at it on both on. I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to choose a few spots where I'm going to just go back and put some in, or smooth it out, like there. And maybe, I don't like to do the curvy spots. Oops. I don't know. You know what? I don't like it. She doesn't like it. Let's see what she can do here. Can you do something there? Something there. Does that make it? Okay, let's see. Definitely not flamingo blend. It almost looks like some strange writing on it. I'm going to keep it. I like it. Okay. And just to show you how we clean up here, I'm just going to go like this. And back into the jar for another day. And so if you are interested in getting supplies or things like that, check our website, check our online store, though there are more things on our website. And if you have trouble getting started, because sometimes it's hard to just get some simple thing right and you don't know what you're doing wrong. So that's what I'm here for. And I might be able to help, and actually you may be able to help me in case you can see any ways in which I can improve my my setup here. And so this will be good for another painting. There's enough in there. There's about 1/4 of a cup, maybe a little more. And I could mix it with other colors, a similar, with other sort of metallic colors. That's what I would mix it with, but I'm not so sure it would have to be metallic. So there we go. Oh, I'm going to say my goodbyes. Thank you for joining us today. You can find us right now here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and there will be schedules on our website, barvotti.com, and our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page called Studio Art School, where all of our videos are shown as well as on YouTube. So, but right now we plan to be here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Central to do demonstrations, answer your questions, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on Friday.